Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to another Wild Rift video. Today I'll be giving you the ultimate tier list for every single role in the game. And this one is going to be crazy because so much has changed. And not only that, people have figured out new champions that are good. People have figured out new playstyles, new builds, and I'll be talking about all of those. You need to watch these tier lists, and you shouldn't look at them from a surface level. Watch them deeply. Watch me talk about most of these champions because there's so much to uncover. And I can tell you how many comments I've read under my tier list with people saying like, I didn't know Warwick was that strong. I didn't know Kill was that strong. And now that you told me, now I knew. And I'll tell you also how to build them very quickly and sort of why they're broken. So I'm just going to quickly tell you as well with almost every champion on the tier list here, why they're good as well. So make sure you watch the whole thing through, get yourself some snacks and all of that. And just a quick thank you to the video sponsor. This video is sponsored by Marvel Strike Force. I really love this sponsor because this game is genuinely fun to me. I'm a big fan of building my own squad and choosing exactly how to upgrade them. Marvel Strike Force is also perfect if you're a big fan of certain superheroes. The game features many cool heroes including Deadpool, Thor, Captain America and even Spider-Man. You can use my link in the description or scan this QR code to play the game and unlock a bunch of free characters. Your main goal as a player is to power up those characters you use the most and complete missions to unlock gear and other resources that will help you progress. Marvel Strike Force gives the player freedom to assemble teams of their favorite Marvel heroes and villains to save the world from threats like Doctor Doom. New players can unlock a variety of the roster and recruit the absolute A-Force team throughout December. This team is led by Kahori, a brand new limited character, and I personally enjoy the alliance system where I can work together with other players to finish raids and get huge rewards. My alliance can also help and teach me what tactics and synergies that work best so I can boost my teammates effectively. There's no better time to download. You can also spread the holiday cheer by using the promo code DEC24 to unlock 3 extra characters: Captain Carter, Star-Lord T'Challa, and Strange Heartless. The code will also throw in 1440 training modules and 360,000 gold so you can get a jump start on your account. Use the link in the description or scan my QR code to download the game now and get started. Alright, back to the tier list. So, starting off in the Baron lane, Darius going strong as ever. You know what the craziest thing is? In most games, Darius is not even the best pick. However, he's always a good first pick. So what I'm trying to say, he's always a good pick. So while he's not always going to be the best pick, he's not broken, he's just always a solid pick. Like if you don't have anything to pick, just pick Darius. Literally just pick Darius and you're always going to be fine in the top lane. There are no real counters. I mean, of course, Teemo will give you a difficult time, but I mean, who cares about Teemo? You're just going to build magic resist and you'll be fine. And the good thing about Darius is he can itemize against anything. He works against everything. He can build a lot of movement speed. He can build a lot of tankiness. He can build a lot of anti-tank. He can build a lot of HP, a lot of armor. All these items are good on him. Everything works on him. He can stack as much AD as possible to do as much true damage as possible. He can go phase rush. He can go lethal tempo. He can go conquer. You can adjust his playstyle. He can go for the tanky runes. He can go for the damage runes. What I'm trying to say, he's a very versatile champion that you can just always pick. Camille being the same. However, Camille is... she can't wipe an entire team. However, Camille is a stronger individual champion. Late game especially, she destroys backlines. She destroys tanks. Of course, she cannot destroy entire teams by herself, as I said, which is the reason why I've put her below Darius. But she can also play fine early game. Her second ability is very strong early game. She scales to the late game. She's a monster even late game. Garen. There is a very specific Garen build I'm talking about. And I'm thinking about making a video about that. However, I'm flying to Australia in 2 days. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough time to make videos about that. But more on how I will make videos while I'm in Australia later, by the way. But the specific build I'm talking about is the one-shot Garen build. Trinity Force, Sundered Sky, Starrick's Gauge, and just going ham on the backline. This build doesn't beat bruisers. However, you will always beat any ADC. Even if the enemy ADC is 4,000 gold behind, I don't care. You are one-shotting them. You're going to silence them, ignite third ability before the silence runs out, you ult, they're dead. I can assure you they are dead. Fiora. Fiora has risen up in the ranks again, not because she got changed, but because people have kind of refigured out Fiora. They noticed, hey, wait a minute, Fiora is still very much one of the most broken champions in the game. Doesn't matter if you're up against a tank or a bruiser, she will beat anyone. And Renekton, for example, being one of the most dangerous champions in top lane, Fiora just destroys him. She doesn't care about Renekton. Darius is a little bit of a more difficult matchup for Fiora, hence the rating of Darius. But Fiora can beat anyone. She can genuinely beat anyone in a 1v1, but you gotta be good. You gotta be real good at Fiora. I highly suggest you check out some of the HellsDevil Plus videos that I made on Fiora. I am an incredibly good Fiora, so you can learn a lot from watching me play Fiora, but live gameplay is gonna be on the HellsDevil Plus channel. Just look up HellsDevil Plus Fiora or click on the link in the description to the HellsDevil Plus channel. Renekton is overall a solid pick. He's not the type to carry the game, but he's a very strong individual champion in the early game. He can beat most lanes, and in the late game in teamfights, he can still be a formidable threat by being very tanky and also being able to dive the backline very, very easily. And something that's extremely underrated about Renekton, which not many people actually utilize, is the empowered third ability, shredding that percentage armor, which is insane. There's not many champions that can do that. You can just shred their armors, and then your entire team is going to do more damage to the enemy frontline. Imagine shredding, like, I think it's like 30% of Rammus's armor. So like a Rammus goes into your team, you as a Renekton, you can shred that armor, and your ADC is just going to destroy that Rammus. Ornn is just good overall. I mean, not much to talk about. Riven, you have to be really good at Riven. Like, you know, I made a Riven video on the HellsDevil Plus channel, and I mean, I played pretty good, but like, to be able to properly play Riven on the S plus tier, you need to be beyond good. So if you're not an amazing Riven, she's gonna be here. But this is for you Riven mains out there. You can roll almost every lane with it. Mordekaiser is not as strong as before, however, still sitting in the S tier. I'm gonna skip some champions because I don't want to make this an hour video. I noticed that most of you guys enjoy a bit of a shorter video rather than the hour-long video. Maokai got nerfed, but still very much a very strong top laner. You go Heartsteel and you're very tanky. You can dive backlines really well. The only problem he has is he doesn't beat bruisers as easily anymore. His first ability doesn't do as much damage as before. And a little bit of anti-heal, and he's not going to be that strong anymore in a 1v1. And most top laners are going to get anti-heal anyways. Jax is good for split pushing power. He's one of the only champions that can actually beat Camille in a 1v1, by the way, in case you're wondering. Jax actually easily beats Camille in a 1v1. There's not many champions that can do that. So if you ever see an enemy pick Camille, just pick Jax. And Camille does get picked quite a decent amount because she's a very strong top laner in the current meta. So just a little trick for me to you guys. You see Camille, pick Jax. Trust me, it's really easy. This dude has risen to the top. Well, almost to the top. But I'm not talking about AP Malphite. I'm talking about tank Malphite. And this is something I have never seen played in the last year. Only people playing AP Malphite. Guys, the armor scalings got buffed like crazy. He gets so much armor. He does so much damage. I played him the other day. I was easily 1v1ing ADCs. And I'm saying easy, like not even close. Go Frozen Heart, go Sunfire Aegis, go Amaranth Twin Guard, go all that kind of stuff. And I can assure you, no ADC in this world, even Vayne, is gonna kill you. I'm telling you, no one is gonna kill you. Like, unless of course it's a 5-item Vayne, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, no ADC that has the same amount of gold as you is gonna kill you. Never. Gragas top can one-shot, but one thing you have to be careful of, he does get destroyed by pretty much any bruiser in the lane. So as long as you're just able to play it safe and only follow up ganks, AP Gragas is going to be very strong, skill into the late game and destroy the enemy. Aatrox, I don't really like Aatrox much, but he's just decent in the top lane. Not too much to talk about. I would consider him a weaker Riven. It's a little bit more difficult to land his abilities than it is with Riven, but you can play him a bit safer because he doesn't have to be in your face to hit the abilities. Only with the last one, of course, but the last one does a lot of damage. The first ability I'm talking about. Sion is an interesting case. He's good. But, of course, with the removal of Hullbreaker, it kind of destroyed Sion. Sion really was made by the item Hullbreaker, pushing turrets like crazy. I mean, now he's just not as fast at pushing turrets anymore. Of course, the Demolish still does a lot of damage, of course. But the thing is, you're not going to push 3 turrets anymore with Sion. You have to push them one by one, constantly with your Hullbreaker. It just takes way too long to get the turrets. Going full AD Sion also does not work. It's just not gold efficient. So the unfortunate reality is that Sion is still very good. It's just not broken anymore. Like split push Sion, inting Sion, and all of that. I mean, inting Sion still works. If you want to crack the system, it still works. Not as well as before, but it still works. But that's for another video. I've actually made a video about that already. Yone, I always say it, Yone is the tank and bruiser. Well, the tank counter. If you're up against a tank like Ornn, well, Malphite actually does yeah, he also beats Malphite. He actually easily beats Malphite. You know, against a Maokai, against any tank like that, just pick Yone, go Blade of the Doom King, Divine Sunder, and you just destroy them. Nasus, extremely underrated, very, very strong. The only thing I have to say about Nasus is pick him in the right draft. Pick him against Sion. Pick him against, he does good against Renekton as well. Pick him against Riven. Pick him against Set. Pick him against Teemo. Pick him against, he's also good against Singed, for example. He's really good against those types of champions that just can't 1v1 him. And then of course you just get free scaling into the late game. So champions you have to be careful of are like Camille, for example. She can be dangerous. Darius can be dangerous as well. Fiora is extremely dangerous. Jax is dangerous. Well, you beat Gragas, but early game he's dangerous. Those types of champions you want to avoid. Gwen, avoid Gwen. Like, please avoid Gwen. Next up, talking about the reworked Singed. So when we had Singed before the hotfix, he was not even here. You know where he was? I'm not sure if you can see this. He was here, over here. He had a 75% win rate in Chinese Wild Rift. Let that sink in. 75%. I'll just have a sip of water just so you can let that sink in real quick. I played him. When he was not banned, every game was a win. Every game. Easy. He one-shot. He would one-shot entire teams. However, the unfortunate reality is that's not true anymore. He got giga nerfed. Like, I'm talking really, really hard. He's actually over here. I don't know if I put him B tier before, but this is where he's actually at. Again, I'm pretty sure I took him from here, but whatever it is, he's like top A tier. He's still very, very strong. And I expect him to have a pretty decent win rate, like maybe a 52, 53, 54% win rate, which is very good. And well, not 54, like a little bit lower than that. But for you Singed mains out there, you're going to make him work. Like, you're going to make him work if you're really good at this champion before. He is a lot stronger than before. Like, relative compared to before the work. I can't speak. Before the rework, he's very, very strong. But he got nerfed really hard. So if you've played Singed before the hotfix, he's significantly weaker. His first ability does less damage, second ability does less damage, third ability does less damage, has higher cooldown, has lower range, his ultimate gives less ability power, gives less resistances, less movement speed, less everything. So he's significantly weaker. However, he's playable. He doesn't shove waves as fast anymore, so Proxy Singed is also unfortunately not that good anymore, the thing that I made a video for. But hey, he's still good. He's just still good. Teemo is this surprising pick that is actually surprisingly good, by the way. Many people still flame players that are playing Teemo, but I'm telling you, Teemo is very, very strong. He just needs to be played correctly, which is like Assassin Teemo in the current meta. Anything interesting? Ambessa is very strong, but not top lane. I'll talk about Ambessa in the jungle, guys. Graves top, very solid. Of course, A tier meaning normal tier, so they're like balanced. But anything below that, like Warwick, for example, we all know how strong Warwick is, right, with the rework. But in the top lane, he just doesn't work. Because he doesn't win 1v1s early game against bruisers. Even in the late game, funny thing, even late game, he doesn't win 1v1s against bruisers. He just assassinates squishies. That's really the whole thing. So in a lane, can you imagine an early game Warwick? You just get pulled by a Darius. You're not going to do anything against that Darius. You're just not. Like, you're simply not going to do anything against it. You're never killing him. You're probably going to die. The only thing he's remotely good at is ganks because of his ultimate, but like, he's just useless in top lane. Jace, don't pick Jace top. Kayle top, also unfortunately just not good. If you're against even a remotely good player, they're gonna destroy you. If you're against a trash player, Kill top is gonna be like here. But if you're in higher elos, it's highly unlikely you're gonna be up against a trash top laner. So Kill is just not gonna be good. You're gonna get bullied like crazy. If the jungler ganks you and all of that, you have no game to play. Cannon, unplayable since the nerf. Absolutely unplayable. Next up, we're talking about the jungle. Of course, here everything is reversed. We have Warwick on top. To tell you why Warwick is still on top in the jungle, even though you're not seeing him as much in ranked, because he's not going to be as hyped anymore. anymore, because of course the rework was released like what, like a month ago or something like that, so people are not playing him as much anymore. But let me tell you, he's like AP Jax. And again, when I say AP Jax, many people know what I'm talking about. The secret broken stuff that no one plays or pays attention to. AP Warwick, I mean, it's still the same thing. If you haven't seen my AP Warwick video, just scroll down on my channel a little bit. It's like the 5th video from here, or the 6th one. Watch it and play it. Just give it, like, I can convince you, or you can just play it and you'll see by yourself. It's so easy. Just play it and you'll see by yourself what the hell I'm talking about. You have to play it correctly, but there is a whole separate 1 hour long AP Warwick video specifically designed to teach you exactly how to play him. Also on the HellsDevil Plus channel, I have some Warwick gameplay. Next up is Vi. Vi is extremely strong still. She didn't get nerfed or anything. She has everything. She has movement speed, she has armor penetration, tankiness. She can chase down anyone. And in this meta where everyone is so fast, everyone has so much range, you know, you have Victors and all of that. Vi is a champion that can stick to those states. She can stick on the Victor, she can stick on the Orianna, she can stick on the Ezreal, on everything. She's that champion that can do it. You know, there's many junglers. If you take a look at like Kha'Zix or Pantheon or Jarvan or something, they all just don't stick to the target as well. Like if Jarvan ults, you can just flash out of it or something. But if Vi ults you, you can't flash away. It's going to keep chasing you. If you flash away, she's going to use her first ability to catch up to you anyways. Or her second ability with the movement speed. Everything she does gives speed. So just the overall kit of Vi is unbelievably strong in the current meta. Next up is Lilia. Lilia has fallen just a little bit because Lilia is very good. Like the champion itself is very strong, but the current meta has shifted a little bit with everyone playing Victor in the mid lane right now as well, and just more high range oriented champions. Lilia sucks against those. She really doesn't like the high range stuff. She wants low range, she wants low damage, she wants tanks. You know, she wants to be against the Malphites, the Maokais, the Rammus, the Jarvans, all those types of champions. That's what she wants to be against. Those are not being picked as much anymore, like probably like a 5 to 10% decrease in picks, which is quite substantial. So she's been downgraded as well, just a little bit. But of course that makes Warwick stronger, right? Like that's how you have to look at it. Who does that also make stronger? Diana jungle. Many people have been have been requesting me to play Diana jungle. Unfortunately, I haven't actually played it. Well, I have played it. Have I played it? I don't know if I made a video on it on the HellsDevil Plus channel, but she's very strong. The reworked Diana, very strong, like extremely powerful. Definitely up with the big guys, or big girls I should say, because we have Ambessa, Lilia, and Vi mostly in the top tiers, right? So mostly the women are dominating the jungle tier. They're destroying the jungle. And talking about dominating women, we have Ambessa. She's very strong in the jungle. You know, with her chains, she does a lot of work in the jungle. Like you just farm up yourself and she's very mobile. She does so much damage. She punishes the enemy. She just keeps going. And then if you think you can get out, she just throws her chains and pulls you back in with that insane ultimate of hers. She is one of the strongest junglers. And the beauty of Ambessa is she has no mana. Always when a jungler has no mana, it gives them an edge over anything else. You know, Lee Sin, Ambessa, Riven, think about Shyvana, think about, who else has no mana that is very strong? I think that's it. From the very strong picks, those are the ones that have no mana. So like if you have no mana, you don't have to go back. You just don't. You're going to heal up naturally because you're going to run something like Legend Bloodline or something. And you're just going to keep farming jungle, keep ganking, just keep going until you finally want to backport for an actual item. But you never have to backport for mana, never. Next up is Talon, still one of the strongest junglers in the game. Incredible assassin, very strong. Man, the video is still going to be an hour. What am I doing? I need to go a bit faster. Echo, very strong, super solid assassin. Fits the meta as well. He loves to dive backlines. Viego also went up, and I'm not talking about Blade of the Rune King Trinity Force Viego, I'm talking about Collector Solari Chargeblade Viego. That specific build where you go for full crit is very strong right now, because again, you can dive the enemy backlines and you're just gonna one-shot them. Jungle Riven, same story as top lane, you gotta be extremely good, then she is also very strong. Kill jungle is very powerful. It's not like the top lane, because in the jungle, especially with like how strong the current high elo player base is, I guess I can say, they're not gonna punish you as much. They're not gonna invade as much. People just don't know that they can invade kill super easily. So you're just always gonna get level 5 for free. And of course, when you're level 5 as a kill, you're already a balanced champion. And from there on, it only gets better and better. So of course, if you get a free early game pass, it naturally makes kill very strong. And of course, since the kill rework, you only have to reach level 13 now to roll over the enemy. You don't have to be level 15. 13 is already enough. Hecarim, very strong as well, and of course he went up in the tier list too because of the current meta. He loves those backline long range carries because he doesn't care. He's super quick, he'll get to them, he'll catch them, he'll fear them, and he'll kill them. Shyvana doesn't like this patch, but oh jeez, deadly. Jesus, my mother scared the hell out of me. She walked in the room. Make it hell. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh my god. Dude, I was making a video and I have this earphone and I couldn't hear anything, and then my mom just barges in the... You know how late it is? It's 3:30 a.m. Sometimes she just wakes up because she can't sleep. Oh my god. She even laughs about it. She thinks it's funny. I'm getting a heart attack here because I got scared to death. Oh my god. She walked in so nonchalantly, like, oh man. Give me a second. Okay, where was I? Hecarim, oh yeah, Shyvana. So the thing about Shyvana is she is S+ tier, but she just doesn't fit the meta. The buffs to Shyvana made her incredibly strong, but again, she doesn't fit the meta. You know, your Ezreal picks, your Victor picks, and all of that are going to destroy Shyvana. She can't catch up to them. Kayn, same story. Blue Kayn is not as strong anymore. Red Kayn works well, but then again, in the current meta, Red Kayn will get punished like crazy. And Blue, as I said, Blue Kayn is just terrible right now. With Mastery, it's like a double-edged sword, because it's true he likes to 1v1 those backline champions like Victor, Orianna, and whatever. But in a teamfight situation, he really sucks against them because they're gonna destroy him from a long range. It takes way too long for him to reach them. And if he does reach them, you know, sure, but there's something like a repulsor enchant and stuff like that to push him away, which not many people use, by the way. You really need to use the repulsor. It's very, very good into situations like that. Lee Sin, solid. Actually, honestly, he's better than this. What am I doing? Lee Sin is actually definitely S+ T because he works perfectly in the current meta, diving those Victors and whatnot. So I was actually wrong when I made this tier list like half an hour ago. Lee Sin is definitely S+ T. He's S+ tier. You know what one champion is that surprises me a lot? Amumu. I made an Amumu video on my second channel. I just kind of gave him a try, and I was so surprised by how strong he was. So surprised by how insanely powerful this champion was. And I mean, funny thing, in my last 3 tier lists, I think I even forgot to put Amumu in them. And so many people commented, where's Amumu? Where's Amumu? Please put Amumu. You need to give him a try. I just neglected Amumu. As if he's not neglected enough already. I mean, look at how sad he looks. Look at him. Does he deserve to be neglected like that? Of course not. Of course not. So he's very strong. Wukong. I'm talking about full damage Wukong. You know, Yuma's Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, all of that. I made a video on it. I got a pentakill on Wukong. So watch the video on my main channel and then you'll see why he's very, very strong. Graves Jungle. I'm also a firm believer of Graves Jungle. But I also practice my preaching about Graves. I play him a lot and I destroy the enemy with it. I have a lot of videos on him on the HellsDevil Plus channel, and I also have videos on him on the main channel. I even have a true damage video on him if you haven't seen that one already. AP Jax Jungle, it's like a weaker AP Warwick. He needs a little bit longer to scale up, but he's very strong. He's very, very strong. Let's see. Kha'Zix, I feel like Kha'Zix sucks. I don't know. I've only seen like one good Kha'Zix or just one game where an enemy Kha'Zix popped off. Besides that, Kha'Zix just always seems like a useless cockroach. He doesn't do anything right now. Pantheon, you know, I'm saying useless, but like he's still A tier. A reminder, like top A tier is still above average. Pantheon is solid. Nothing special, just playable, I want to say. Fiddlesticks is... the thing about Fiddlesticks is you really have to know how to play. If you play him incorrectly, he's gonna suck. And it's just really difficult to play him correctly against high elo players because they're gonna be able to anticipate what you're trying to do. They're gonna anticipate that you're waiting over a wall. they're not going to stick together as much. So you really have to play around like flashing onto the enemies with your ult and stuff like that. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult to play him. But besides, if you know how to play him, you can stomp low elo with him. And even in high elo, he can work in the right comp. Like you need a very dominating jungle comp, as in like, you need a very dominating comp that can scout jungle. So like having a Twisted Fate in your team, for example, is very good because every time he can ult, you can kind of look around the map and just ward, put down wards. Also, you know, having champions that can take down wards is very strong, like an Ashe, for example. It's very specific, but having stuff like that helps a lot when you're playing Fiddlesticks. You really want to scout enemy jungles, put down wards. So like having a Teemo in your team, amazing. Having a Jhin in your team, amazing, because he puts those, you know, the wards down, the traps, they're like wards. So you want to kind of look at that. That would be my biggest tip with Fiddlesticks in the draft. Besides obvious drafting tips, this is the #1 thing I would look at on your own team. Does my team have a lot of jungle dominating champions with vision? Whether it's clearing vision or putting vision down. Anyone interesting? Rammus is not good. Nunu jungle is fine. Singed jungle was S+ tier before the rework, before the hotfix. Unfortunately now he just takes jungle too slowly. Back down to the B tier, guys. Very, very sad. Evelynn jungle. This is one champion that is such a mystery to me. How on earth is Evelynn so weak now? I mean, of course I figured out that actually, isn't this Evelynn's patch? Now that I'm thinking about it, she should be here. She should actually be balanced because Evelynn loves those backline carries. Even though we have Milio now, we have Lulu now, we have Yuumi now, all of these hard counter Evelynn. If you're in a specific draft where there's no no good enchanters, and there's a lot of long-range champions, Evelynn is a solid pick now. She's playable. Before she was unplayable, but now she's actually playable because of that specific reason. The way the meta shifted. Huh, interesting, yeah. Same goes for Zed, actually. I put Zed very low because of that specific reason. So Zed goes up to here, I would say. And Jace goes up a little bit as well. And Tryndamere too. And it brings down someone like Shen, brings down someone like Olaf as well. Olaf jungle just doesn't work very well. It brings down these types of champions that get kited really hard. Twitch, don't play Twitch. very easy. Oh man, this is going to be a long video still. Okay, mid lane. Let's talk about the obvious Victor. Some people are going to be surprised. How the hell is Victor broken tier? He feels very weak when I play him. He doesn't do anything. I highly suggest you to just look at top tier Victor stuff. Top tier Victor gameplay. Early game, you chill, right? You chill, you get your stacks. But once Victor gets 300 stacks, as long as you don't get caught, he's gonna do the most damage, he's gonna have the most CC, and just free poking. He has the easiest poking. I think he genuinely has the easiest poke ability in the game, which is his third ability. It's genuinely the easiest. And then if you choose to not respect him by not going away, he's gonna hit you double with it, right? Because it's a double laser in the late game. You try to engage on him, he hits that first ability and the empowered attack. You try to stay on top of him, he throws his ultimate second ability, Stasis, and it kills you. And then if he actually snowballs the fight, he gets in an ultimate and gets a kill, that ultimate is going to get so big and strong that you just cannot deal with it anymore. That's what she said. Talking about she, you know, we have Syndra next to Victor. Very strong champion as well. You know, for me, I almost never put champions in the broken tier. You know, I often stick to S+ tier. I only really put something in the broken tier if it's genuinely broken and I feel like it's a must pick every game, first pick. That's what broken tier means to me. So like there's nothing broken tier here. Singed, of course, in the after the rework was broken tier, but since he's hotfix, not. And I also wouldn't consider Warwick a pick or ban, but these two champions, they are pick or ban. You pick them or you ban them first, always. Syndra, I mean, do I even need to explain why? Of course she can stun, she does so much damage, she has easy poking, you know, everything you need from a mid laner. She has burst, she has sustained damage, she has survivability, she can push away assassins. Like, what else do you need in a champion? Talking about assassins, Echo and Diana, got a lot stronger in the current meta for the same reason. They want to dive in. Also, Diana with the rework, of course, incredibly powerful. Someone that we don't talk about too often is Vladimir. And while Vladimir doesn't really fit in the current meta, he's draft specific. I don't suggest you to pick Vladimir into these long range champions, but in a game where there is not a long range champion, where there is an Echo, where there is a Diana, where there is, I mean, Diana actually hard counters Vladimir. What am I even talking about, honestly? Like, he's not even that strong. He's really not even that, because like Khazrin also hard counters him. Long range champions, he doesn't like to be against them too much. Yeah, well, I don't even know what I'm talking about. He's really not that good, actually. He's just sitting in the S tier. Talking about someone that is good, actually, surprisingly good, by the way, is Orianna. Orianna has always been good. Like in the 4 years of Wild Rift, Orianna has always been a solid pick. But the last 6 months or so, the draft was just not around Orianna. Like the meta was not around Orianna, and it just didn't work too well. She took way too long to scale up. However, now, the thing is now, with these long range champions, with a Victor being picked, you pick Orianna. You're gonna outdamage Victor in lane, and you're gonna outdamage him late game. That's the thing with Orianna. So she gets a free lane against that type of champion, which is gonna be picked almost every single game. Akali is one of the stronger assassins. Same reason, she loves diving backlines. She's just a very strong champion in the mid lane right now. Ziggs also, he throws those bombs from afar. And you know what the beauty of Ziggs is, in my opinion? His second ability. The fact that he's able to push off those bruisers or anything like that is just so strong. So strong. So I feel like he's a little bit underrated. He's incredibly powerful. Zoe. I mean, Zoe hasn't changed. She's just still S+ tier. She was S+ tier. She still is S+ tier. She remains S+ tier. Galio, bit of a counter pick. You pick him into the Dianas, the Akalis, the Katarinas, and all of that. He's very strong against them. You have to be careful against these long range champions like Victor and all of that, because you're gonna get bullied against them. But he's just a very good counter pick against these mage assassins, and also he works well into these backline carries too, because of the sheer amount of damage his first ability does. He works well if you have a Vi or any diving champion in your team, because the combination of a Vi or a Camille with a Galio is they engage and you ult them, which means you're always going to ult the enemy backline. That's the combination you have to think about. And then also, he's decent into melee champions to protect his teammates. Now, when you go full AP, you're not really supposed to be a protector, not like a secondary carry. But of course, that's like a secondary thing he can still do against melee champions. Annie got significantly better too, and I actually think Annie is playable now. I had always put Annie down in the B tier or anything after the rework. The rework made her terrible. The funny thing is, I agree with the rework, because Annie was beyond broken before. I always played Annie. You can just one-shot people. There was no counter. QSS didn't counter it. Stasis was impossible because you're stunned. So Annie was just beyond broken. Now, she's a balanced champion and works with the meta. She works with this current meta. Khazrin is good. Don't have much to say about him. He's not amazing because he struggles a little bit more with diving all the way in the backline, especially with those enchanter supports as well. Ahri is fine. Brandt went down a little bit in my tier list, but he's okay. He's definitely still strong. Very draft specific though. You don't want to pick him into long range. Pick him into tanks. Veigar went down because everyone is so fast. Veigar doesn't like long range. Veigar loves to be against tanks, and I feel like currently he just does a little bit of a worse job than Brandt. Pyke mid lane is playable now. Since the buff to Pyke, he's very strong. You can roam around, gank 24/7. He only struggles a little bit with pushing mid lane, but besides, he's very strong. Twisted Fate, like sort of a split push Twisted Fate where you're ulting around left and right, can be very good right now. And then of course you join team fights when you need to join team fights. He's very good at joining backlines. So like let's say your team goes in, you just ult in the backline and you support your team by going in the backline. It's very strong. Katarina also became playable in the current patch. Same reason, backlines, she loves it. Katarina really struggled during the last couple of months because of the tank meta, the bruiser meta and all of that. Because of course she doesn't do anything against your average Darius, right? But she definitely does against your Victors, your Syndras, your Orianas, Zoes and all of that. Lissandra is fine, not much to say. Aurelion Soul draft specific, pick him against tanks. Heimerdinger is okay. Zed, fine. Zed, I mean, honestly, same story. Like, Zed is better now. I'm not sure. That was one thing I didn't think about with some of the champions. They are a lot better now because of the current meta. Singed mid, not as good. Of course, before the hotfix over here, but now, unfortunately, sitting in the V tier. Besides that, not much to say. Don't play Zyra, don't play Vex. Cannon, again, because of the nerf, terrible. Kill mid lane, don't do that. Next up, I'm gonna go through the ADC and the support list very quickly because it's not that much to say. But why the hell are we seeing Milio and Lulu over here? It's because they are tied to the champions. I've decided to do this, even though, you know, normally we're rating individual champions. Just so you know, Caitlyn rated individually is S tier. Jinx rated individually is over here in the A tier. But if you have a Milio in your team, you automatically pick Caitlyn, right? And since Milio is such a prevalent pick in the current meta, that's why I've included his synergy with Caitlyn in the tier list. This is something I may do more often soon. I'm just testing it out now. Let me know what you think about it. By the way, put down a comment anyways, because I'm doing a skin giveaway, giving away 3 skins this month like I always do. Put down a comment, you know, give the video a like. Really supports the channel a lot. Let's see if we can reach like 750 likes. That would be amazing. So yeah, to talk about this, Caitlyn Milio, the most broken lane in the game right now, by far. Milio got like a million nerfs, but it doesn't matter. It's the most broken lane. Next up, we got Xayah, the strongest individual ADC in the game. Works against anything, doesn't have any weaknesses. She's not necessarily, she's like Darius. Remember what I said about Darius? Not necessarily the best pick in every game, but it's just always a good pick. So that's what you know, that's really good. Kai'Sa, similar. However, Kai'Sa struggles against one thing, which is long range. Which is exactly Caitlyn Milio, which is exactly Lulu Jinx, which is exactly a late game Tristana, which is exactly, you know, all that kind of stuff. Victors, Orianas, etc. Lulu Jinx, I mean, honestly, like if you really think about it, Lulu Jinx is pick or ban, but not the Jinx part. Lulu is the ban part. If Lulu is not banned and picked by your team, you pick Jinx. So if you really think about that, that is, you know, that is broken tier according to my rules. So I should put it broken tier. Ezreal, very strong individual champion. However, extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. You really have to be good at this champion to make him work. And even if you're that good, he's still going to be a little bit weaker than the S+ tier champion. So honestly, I don't recommend people to play Ezreal unless you're very good at him, or unless, of course, you enjoy playing him. He's a really fun champion to play. But be aware, very difficult champion. I made a ton of Ezreal videos on the HellsDevil Plus channel. So if you want to learn Ezreal, just look that up. I have like 10 videos on that channel on this champion, and all of them are recent. Varus is just overall good, because you can pivot your build around in the draft. You can go for lethal tempo. You can go for what is it called? Arcane Comet or First Strike. So like if you first picked Varus to go lethality, and then suddenly they picked a lot of tanks, you're gonna switch around, as I said, pivoting it's called, your build, and you basically changing up the plans in the middle of the draft. Lucian with the rework, solid, but I would say lacks range. He lacks a little bit of range, very good mobility, but I feel like mobility doesn't matter much if there is a Milio Caitlyn shooting you down anyways, right? If there is a Victor shooting you from downtown anyways. So I mean, I know that Lucian is just not that strong. Tristana takes a little bit long to scale up, I would say. Struggles early game, struggles mid game, doesn't benefit as much from the enchanters early on in the lane, so she's not going to be as oppressive. Even with a tank, she's not going to be as strong in the early stages of the game, and I just feel like she's not that strong anymore. Same goes with Jhin. Jhin, unfortunately, I love playing Jhin, but like, I mean, what are you going to do against an enchanter with Xayah? She's going to run you down, right? You just can't do anything with these enchanters. So it's just super difficult to play a Jhin. Miss Fortune also, like, she's very strong, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as strong as Xayah, Kai'Sa, Caitlyn, and Jinx, right? She's not as strong as them, but she's the same type of champion. Of course, Miss Fortune has that big ultimate, right? Like, that's a small addition to it, but it's really not that strong. Only, like, ever so often does it completely hard carry a team fight. Draven, don't play him solo queue. I mean, I do it because I love playing Draven, but converting a winning lane into a victory is extremely difficult unless your support is very good and knows what to do, which 99% of the cases is not going to happen in solo queue. Stick to Draven with duo queue. Don't play Vayne. I tried it, terrible. Don't play Ashe. Ashe can only be a supporting ADC, so like you're running around like a dumbass, shooting your second abilities to poke the enemy, and then shooting your ultimates to gank lanes, but like you're not gonna carry the game. You are simply not gonna carry the game. Lastly, the support tier list. Lulu, Milio, Yumi, the broken trio, doesn't need to be talked about. This needs to get banned every game. This does get banned every game. Unless you're first pick, but if you're second pick, all three, so you only have 2 ban slots in Wild Rift. Because the first 3 are taken by Lulu, Yumi, and Milio. If they're not taken by them, the enemy is going to first pick and they have like a 70% chance to win the game. It's really that simple. It's that simple. Nothing else that I have to say about them. Absolute brain dead stuff. That's it. Now that besides those 3, you know, they're going to be banned anyways. What should you play? Pyke is the strongest support right now. His buff made him even stronger. He's incredible. Every time I play Pyke, I get like 15 to 20 kills in a game. The only problem is, if you play Pyke properly, which means roaming around 24/7, your ADC is going to hate you. You're going to have trolling ADCs in your team, so you kind of have to find a bit of a balance between being in your lane, just so your ADC doesn't troll, and then roaming around and getting kills left and right. Like, that is the right way to play Pyke. Not many people know about that. So a lot of people are going to tell you that you're trolling when you do that. So that's the only annoying thing about it. So people may actually genuinely start trolling in your team because you're doing the right thing on Pyke. So I would rate him S+ tier for that reason, but it's just maybe lower than S+ tier, considering that like maybe in 10% of the games you play Pyke and you do that, people are going to troll, which is dramatically going to decrease your win rate on him. So those are things you have to take into consideration. Karma, insane damage, great shielding, movement speed, CC, all ins with her ult, great. Swain support, still the broken support special. One of the most fun things to play in the game, one of the strongest things to play, especially in lower mid elo. Super powerful, very tanky, does a lot of damage, so much CC, everything. You can just be in the middle of the enemy forever, just raining havoc on them. He's an incredibly strong champion, and in lane, he's super powerful as well. He can gank really well. He does everything. He provides vision with his second ability. Nami, one of the stronger enchanters in the game, of course, ignoring Lulu and Yumi and all of that. She's very oppressive in lane. Her second ability, third ability, and all of that hurt a lot, and she has great all-ins too. So on top of all the sustain she has, so her sustain is not as good as the other enchanters. Like Janna has more healing, more shielding. Sona has more healing, more shielding. Lulu, Milio, Yumi, they have more. However, none of them have the CC that Nami has, which is the massive ult with the knock-up. But the ult is not even about the knock-up. It's about the insane slow that gets after that. And then of course the first ability knock-up, which actually is a long knock-up. So the fact that she can just knock you up and slow you for like 5 seconds while also buffing the attacks of her ADC, while also providing movement speed with anything she does, while also healing her ally and doing damage. Super solid enchanter. Janna gives a lot of attack damage to her teammates, great shielding, but the beauty of her is she also has that ultimate to push away enemies. So if there's an assassin diving your backline, boom, you ult them away. Her first ability, great, tornado, right? Just for teamfights to knock up enemies and proc your glacial augment as well to reduce their damage. Sona, extremely underrated. Very strong. I made a Sona video on the main channel very recently. I make tons of Sona videos on the second channel. She's incredibly powerful if you know how to play her. By the way, you have to play tank Sona now. You don't go full damage, you go tank. You're gonna bait the enemy to engage on you, and you're just gonna tank everything. Jarvan broken support style still works really well, especially in the current patch, guys. With those backline champions, as a Jarvan support, you can dive their ass easily. Blitzcrank, same story. Works really well against those long-range backline things. You just go in, you flash in, you protobelt in, knock them up, ult them and all of that. You're gonna catch them. You're gonna get them. Galio is fine as a tank and a support. Braum is fine. Nautilus is also a lot better. Actually, he's better than this. I mean, what am I saying? Nautilus is like insanely powerful if you think about it. Because in this meta, same story, right? Like his ult goes all the way to the backline. He can hook, he can engage, he can root the backline and just stun them forever. He has like a 5-second chain CC combination. Like, what the hell else do you need on a champion in this current meta? Makes Leona better too. Makes Thresh better too. Alistar, I don't really like much. I don't know. I just don't really like Alistar too much. There's just too much CC for him. Lux is great. Soraka actually fell off by quite a lot. She used to be in the broken tier. I remember that. She didn't get nerfed or anything. She just doesn't fit the meta at all. Because she's also the long range stuff. So she directly gets countered by stuff that counters the meta already. So you just don't want to pick her. Senna, on the other hand, no. You may think that Senna gets countered by it because she's a long-range champion. However, you can go tank Senna. Iceborne Gauntlet, armor boots, no one is killing you. No one is killing you. So that's the beauty of Senna. Of course, you cannot go tank Soraka. That's just stupid. Singed support is something I want to explore. I genuinely think tank Singed support is playable because of his new ultimate. His ultimate now buffs your ADC on top of you, right? Like you're gonna give your ADC speed, you're gonna give your ADC resistances. Imagine a world where Vayne is balanced. You play Vayne Singed, and Vayne builds an Amarant Twin Guard. As a Singed, you buff her with your ult. She gets speed, she gets bonus damage, she gets bonus armor and magic resist. Then her Amarant Twin Guard procs, she's gonna be hella tanky. Right? This is the type of stuff I'm thinking about. So I'm already sort of anticipating a future where Singed support is going to be good. And I want to be the first one to tell you that. Maokai, fine. Nasa support, of course, play it with Senna. It's playable. I mean, okay, Rakan is better. I've been proven wrong about it. Rakan is actually extremely strong. He works perfectly in the current meta. And then everything else, I mean, AP Malphite works in the current meta, but he got nerfed so hard. It's not even that hard, but like he got nerfed, he's unplayable in the support now. He's really not good. Any support, don't play it. So, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye-bye.